Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of MouseMinds. We are here for you live on Tuesday, just like we are every Tuesday. We certainly appreciate you guys for joining us live on Facebook and, of course, on YouTube as well. On the Facebook, the MouseMinds page, and on Facebook, and of course, our YouTube channel, Disney and Beyond. And we definitely want to thank everyone who is listening to the podcast this week. We certainly appreciate all of you who download our show on your favorite podcasting platform every week at 5 p.m. You can find us on whatever platform is your favorite. Last week we had a lot of news and we had a lot of people on the show, and it was just a lot of stuff to talk about. And after we finished the show, even though I had notes, I remembered things that I didn't even mention. There was things that I missed. There were just so many announcements. In hindsight, maybe I should have separated them up by Walt Disney World or whatever else. But at least we got through it, and I'm sure there's stuff that I missed. But it was so many announcements last week, and we were talking about that. But I wanted to take this week to, I guess you could call this episode a thank you note to cast members. I think that cast members are one of the most um, unthinked people in the parks, and we have a lot to talk about that. And I'll get into that more in just a second here if my mic cooperates. But first, before we do that, I want to welcome our lovely host this week. We have Lisa,
Hi, everyone.
and then we have Michael, of course. He's always at the Contemporary. He really likes that Contemporary.
That's it. Best view in the park.
That's true.
I'll
Top of the
change
world
it
has
next week.
some of the
It's
best
fine.
views in the park. But yes, so this week is all about cast members. We all know the cast members are what bring the magic. We all know the cast members are the ones who deal with the unruly guests that have are not happy because it's raining in Florida.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hey.
He talked about raining in Florida, and the rain kicked him out.
So they get all the amazing requests from the guests. They also are the ones that make the most magic and can make your trip that much more magical. And I thought we'd take a moment to highlight some of our favorite cast member stories. And I will go ahead and kick things off here. Um, One of the experiences, some of the best experiences I've ever had with cast members, have always been at Fort Wilderness. For a while there, I was staying at Fort Wilderness, the campsite, pretty regularly because putting a tent up at the campsite is not only a fun experience. It really is a fun experience. If trust me, I know what you're thinking. Like there's no AC. It's like outdoors. No. It's actually really fun because it's camping at Disney. It's not like camping in the woods. There's comfort stations. There's places to shower yourself and go to the bathroom. So it's a lot. It's not like regular camping. But I have two experiences that I remember the most. Number one, we were out and it was just a really cold night. And I went into one of the gift shops to grab an extra blanket because they have like throw blankets in there. And the lady just saw me shivering and she said, "Are you staying with us tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm staying in a tent." And she said, "Oh my gosh, you're in a tent?" And she proceeded to just hand me a throw blanket and said, "This is here. You need this." And I said, "Well, I'll pay for it." And she said, "No, don't worry about it. It's fine." And that's just like the little touches that just make Disney magical. They don't have to do stuff like that. I'm sure she was, every cast member has what they call magical moments where they can, you know, do something like that for a guest, and I'm sure that I was the recipient of that. But that was pretty amazing. And then the second time, I was staying at Fort Wilderness, and I was eating at Trails End, and one of the cast members there, and we were like the last ones in the restaurant. It was closing down. This is back when it was a buffet, and one of the I looked at the buffet and I said, "Man, there's there's all this chicken on the counter, all this fried chicken." I said, "What do you do with that when you close down?" I said, "It's a shame that would go all to waste." And I wasn't fishing. I was just curious because there was so much food left over. I was like, "Oh my god!" So then, like a minute later, the cast member comes out with like my server cast member comes out with like four large to go boxes and says, and of course I had told her that I was staying on site in the camp, and she said, "Fill up and take back to your campsite." And I said, "Are you serious?" And she said, "Yeah." She's like, "Fill these up and take them back to your campsite." And I still that was probably like 8 or 9 years ago, and I still remember that to this day. Like it's one of those. It's almost like a core memory because of the kindness that they showed. Because they knew that I was. I hate to say this because it's gonna sound bad, but out in the elements, per se. Not really, but a little bit. And that extra bit of kindness always is what I go to Disney for, and you can see it. I mean, when you go to other parks, it's not the same level experience that you get at Disney. They really do go above and beyond. They really do go out of their way to make your experience more magical. And Disney, in my opinion, has perfected the art of hospitality. I think anyone in hospitality can learn a lot from Disney, and of course, Disney has their own classes and they have the Disney Institute and things like that where they do classes on hospitality, and rightfully so. I mean, their programs work. Their level of service is just top notch, whether you're staying at a value resort or a luxurious resort. It doesn't matter. You still get that amazing, amazing, amazing service. So, those are my two experiences, and I'm sure as we go through, I'll think of more because there's so many amazing stories. Just interacting with cast members in the parks. I mean, you know, they are part of the show. They are sometimes the show. Seeing cast members act a little goofy or act a little silly or maybe dancing to the parade and you're dancing with them. Those are the type of moments that I think us as Disney fans really live for. And seeing that type of interaction is always amazing. Now, Lisa, do you have anything to add to this?
Oh my goodness, we have. Throughout the years, we've had so many different things. I know I've shared a few times with folks of the time the boys, and it was just the boys and Rayleigh. So I know they were probably like maybe 4 and 5. So Rayleigh was maybe 3. The boys, we were waiting. So what we would do, our ritual was to watch the parade. Um, and then turn around so that we could watch the fireworks. So we would stake out our spot. We would eat our snacks and all of that, like in that time between the fireworks and the parade. But my one of my kiddos, who's now 19, was just concerned a lot about the fireworks. We had our headphones, but still the loud noises. And we had then Disney Guest Services, Nathaniel Palma.
Oh,
He
okay.
became later he became an ambassador. He
Yes.
sat with us like the whole entire hour. I kid you
Nathaniel
not.
is awesome.
He is amazing. Um, he came up with some fun stories for the boys. He was like, "Oh, so who's your favorite character? And where are you from? All these different things." And my son was like, "Oh, are the fireworks going to be really loud?" Because he said, well, I guess maybe, Goofy's letting him off. So, and James was like, Goofy does the fireworks, and to this day, like, because Goofy was doing them, the noise was no longer an issue. It was Goofy. So, like just little experiences. Like he literally sat and talked with us forever. And one of our friends
Hmm.
that was a cast member in the college program at that same time, um, she was like, "Oh my gosh, I know him," because I took a picture of the boys and him talking because they were just like every single word he said, they were listening. Like some of the stories were embellished a little bit, but many of them were like actual factual stories about the parks. And so the boys just for two little boys with ADHD that were scared of the noise and all of that, that made all the difference. And like I said, my cast member friend, she said, "Oh my gosh, I know him." And then I've seen his career, change through the years. So that's been
Hmm.
really, it's one of those things like it makes sense. Like he was pretty amazing with two kids with some different type of needs. Um, and then so that was one. So there are so many that I could go through. Like we've had, cast members like when one would have a meltdown, sit
Uh-huh.
on the ground with them when they're having the meltdown. Like
Hmm.
and that doesn't happen everywhere. Like you go to the store, someone starts getting upset and they're clearly not of toddler age, it doesn't always go so well. So, to have a cast member saying, well, I'll just sit with you. We'll go see Mickey and Minnie as soon as you're ready, and that's what they did. We just it was the whole line thing. So people, touching them, getting close to them, sometimes it's just too much. Um, and so just having cast members like actually care for the kids. And, my oldest, he probably would be mortified that I told this, but like he would always say, he always felt normal at Disney because people talked to him, people saw him
Hmm.
and saw his needs differently. So those are a couple.
That is that is something that you touched on that is very important. Inclusivity. It's one of the I think it's one of the inclusion is one of the five keys. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember all the five keys, but they did. I think that was the fifth one that they added for Disney cast members. And that is huge. They are very supportive of everyone and everyone's needs, and they just go all out to make sure everyone feels special and just makes them feel like they are, welcome. I'll give you a prime example. Um, Someone that I know personally, um, which a lot of people probably know because he's very popular, but is Chef TJ. If you're not familiar, Chef TJ, he's a chef. He's been a chef at Disney at multiple restaurants. He's been to. He worked at Trails Inn for a long time. He worked at um, I can't think of the name, Cape May for a while, and now he's working at Chef Mickey's. So TJ is well known uh, all around for his amazing vegan meals. When you go to a restaurant, typically he works at a buffet restaurant, and when you go there and you order and you ask to speak to him and you have one of his meals, you are going to be treated to one of the best feasts that you will ever have. Even if you don't eat, even if you aren't a vegetarian, having one of his meals is absolutely incredible because he will do special things for you. But one of the things that he's most known for is his allergy dining, doing allergy menus and helping out people with allergies. And there was a video circulating there for a while where he had made, I think it was at Trails End, he had made a complete meal for someone who had very high sensitivity to gluten. And at the end of the meal, It was a child. At the end of the meal, the child said, I was in tears, and they asked him why, and he said, because I've never felt like a person before. I've always felt like different, and tonight I felt like I was just a regular person. I felt like I had this was for me. This was, someone went out of their way for me. Someone did this special for me. They made me feel like, you know, I was important, and I wasn't. I don't want to say a burden, but I wasn't. I didn't have to. They didn't have to go out of their way for me, but they did. So those types of experiences are what make Disney magical, because they, really speak to the heart of Disney. And honestly, if Walt could see his cast members now, he would be just absolutely so proud, because of the way that they really go crazy for the guests at the resort. It's just, I mean, there's countless and countless and countless videos that you can look up online of cast member experiences. And, being a cast member is not an easy job. I mean, working all those hours, not having holidays off, working 365 days a year, having a smile on your face when you're having a tough day, and all the things that go into that. It's difficult. It's very difficult. So for them to come in and day out and really show up for everyone, and be there on holidays, be there with a smile on their face, even though they know they're giving up time for their families. I mean, I have cast member friends that they're just so happy to be working for Disney. That's just what they want. It doesn't matter what it is, they just want to be working for Disney. So it's really amazing to see that dedication from them to Disney. It's really fantastic. Michael, do you have any thoughts on this?
I sometimes feel that these are like thankless jobs because they're being
Hmm.
paid peanuts, perhaps even literally in some cases, and to have to put up with the entitlement
Yeah,
of more than I'm say half the guests because I paid and I'm paying your salary, and it's that whole thing. And to
yeah.
go in there with the right attitude and to swallow it, and then you can go in the back and punch a wall later. But while you're on stage and you're doing the right thing, I don't know if they get enough credit for what they deal with. And then, how come I'm not getting an upgrade? And how come I'm not? Could be your attitude,
Yeah.
and then the ones that they want to help. And then that child with the gluten allergy to go out of your way. It's because the parent didn't go in there and demand to see the chef, and you're going to make my kid a gluten-free meal, and you're going to make sure you know what? You express a concern, and if they are caring, they should go.
Hmm.
Not that they should, but they do. And it's because they want
Yeah.
to.
They
They
want
don't
to.
have, you got to go make 3 families happy today. Go out and do it. And
Hmm.
if you make nobody happy today, my paycheck doesn't change.
Yep.
But for everyone that I did, and I go home, hey, you know what? That kid was pretty pleased with what I put together for him. Fantastic.
And those guests that are there are just so happy to be there. They're just so grateful to have those experiences, that they, that's why, that's what drives the cast members to want to do more, is having them create those amazing experiences for their guests, and having them be grateful, and not expect it. There's a lot of people that go online and see these things and expect that that's the way they're supposed to be treated when they're at Disney, and that's not necessarily the case. Those are magical moments. Those are things that happen. They don't happen to everybody, but they do happen to a lot of people. And it's always people that go in with the right attitude and are nice and pleasant, and go out of their way, to make it, because the cast members are human too. They're just as human as us, and they deserve just as much respect. And I see so many of them get screamed at and shouted at, and I sometimes I have to be that person that after you've been standing in line at a food and wine booth for 10 minutes and someone's complaining about the wait to the cast member, you have to go up to them and say, hey, you're doing a good job, just don't change anything, you're doing great, like, don't worry about that, like, you really are doing an amazing job. And it's really sad to see. You're right, the entitlement is a big thing. And I get to like some extent some of it, like as a pass holder, like, do I feel like they could do a little bit more sometimes for the pass holders? Absolutely. But I still, that's not the cast members' faults. That's not their fault. They didn't do anything. I'm not gonna take it out on cast members. I'm not gonna go in there and say, I spent all this money on a meal. It should be da 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 da. And I'm not gonna go in with that attitude. I see it all the time. I mean, heck, I was at a I was at um a dessert party once, and there was a guy standing there waiting for coffee to be refilled, and he was yelling at the cast member, telling him he was gonna go on Twitter or something and tell them how his whole Twitter how horrible she was because she didn't fill the coffee in time. And I'm like, oh my god! And these are people on vacation, like these are people that are there. Most of the people are on vacation, so that level of entitlement, like, it just there's a funny, I can't remember her name now, but there's a funny uh there's a girl on Facebook that does reels. I'm sure she does TikToks too, that talks about these types of stories, and it's amazing to me because these things actually happen. Like, think of the craziest things that people would be entitled about, like the weather. Do people actually complain that it's raining in Florida? Yes, they go to guest relations and they complain about the weather. They complain about the heat. They can say it's too hot and they want their money back. These are actual things that happen. You would think that I might be crazy, but these are actual things that people believe, and it's just insane.
And I think something that's important to talk about too is it's, not just at the parks, it's at the hotels, it's at Disney Cruise Line. I had
Mm-hmm.
one of the kiddos ended up having a seizure on our Disney cruise, which meant that, I was with her constantly. Like I had, medical called to make sure she was okay, which this was a pretty typical thing. At the age she was at. It happened somewhat
Mm-hmm.
frequently. It wasn't anything surprising to us. I think it may have alarmed other guests around us, but not necessarily my family. But they went ahead. Like I stayed back with her. We missed like the pirate party. They brought us some treats. Brought us some things just for her because she was missing out on all the festivities. So they didn't have to do that. They went above and beyond. And from what I understand, it's typical for medical to call and make sure that the the guests are okay. However, you know, checking multiple times, and even one other silly little thing that they do on the cruise is they make sure that they know you and your family when
Mm-hmm.
you're the person that's in charge of your cabin. They always make sure they know your name. They will see your family coming from down the hall and they will say your name, smile, wave, make a big deal every single time. Um, and they know, just that whole hospitality. I don't think, I mean, I've been on several different cruise lines. It's there's really not any that I've seen that have really beat Disney hospitality. So, or at least the Disney Cruise Line hospitality that I've
Mm-hmm.
experienced anyways. And to be on, like you're on the clock and you say it's an 8-hour day. I don't know how many hours they work typically, but
Mm-hmm.
to be on and happy and hospitable the whole entire time that you're on stage has got to be really hard because there are times, in our regular everyday work that, you got to take a minute
Yeah.
because people are always nice. And to have, that to be the expectation. And like you said, as part of one of the the 5 keys, the courtesy, treating guests with genuine hospitality and respect. And it is genuine. You don't feel like they're just making that up. And I always say that the thing that gets keeps me going back to Disney is the way that it makes you feel, and the cast members absolutely play a big part of that. Yes, seeing the castle is amazing, but if I didn't have any positive interaction from not how to say term from the turnstiles, not really from the turnstiles anymore, but from, from the entrance, all the way through. People are greeting you, being
Hmm.
positive, trying to make the experience good for all of the guests at the same time. It's not like when you go to a county fair or a state fair, you realize, the folks that are managing those attractions, we'll call them, um, they don't have the same joy, um, and they don't like, kindly encourage people to follow the rules. So, but Disney cast members sure do.
They most certainly do, but it's that there's just that next level of service that you only get at Disney that you just don't. I mean, I think over the years, uh, Universal has evolved, and I think they've stepped up their game a lot, and I think that their team members as well, provide a pretty close level of service. But the when you go to another park that's not Universal, when you go to another, park that's not a major theme park, or you go to a regional park, you can see the differences in the service. It's just, they're just there to provide service. They're just there to serve you food, and they don't have to have a smile on their face. They don't have to be excited. Yeah, there's always, a few people are people in the park working there that really want to be there, and this is they really enjoy being there, and this is what they've wanted to do, so they enjoy it very much so. And you can tell that. But the bulk of Disney cast members are those cast members. They're the ones that want to be there. They're the ones that want to, uh, this is what they've always wanted to do. I mean, look at how much people celebrate being, um, invited to do the college program, the international program. They, they're so excited to be working for Disney, regardless of the pay that could be that it could be peanuts. They are excited and genuinely excited to be there, and that's what's always been astonishing to me is how much they're excited to work under, dealing with the guests and not making you know a ton of money, and so on and so forth. So really kudos to them, for providing that amazing service. And I have a ton of friends who are cast members or ex-cast members, and they always, always, always speak fondly of their time at Disney. Always, they loved every minute of it. So that's amazing to see. I mean, that just speaks to how much they love Disney and how much they love the culture that they provide there, and and it's just amazing. So I guess this episode is we have to say a big thank you to all the cast members out there, because you guys are what make the magic happen. You guys are what, keep us coming back. You know, yes, there are rides, yes, there are the IPs, yes, there are everything else, but a big proponent of that is the service that we get at the parks when we're in the parks. So it is pretty amazing to see. Michael, did you have something else to say?
I do. I have a couple of stories, not amazing. Like this is, here's the big gift and the big whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, just a couple of memories where the cast member, there was one where my wife and I were dating at the time, and I've been treating her meals all over. So we went to Hollywood Studios.
Mhm.
What was the one where they uh, the sit down meal? What's it, when you're in a kitchen? Why am I blanking on
You're
the
thinking
name?
of 50s prime time.
Yes,
Prime time. Yeah.
prime time. Yep. And we said let's just take a chance. There was no waits. We went in,
Hmm.
and at the end of the, and I know they're supposed to play it up, but we to this day, we're talking 17, 18 years ago, we are still laughing about this. Uh, at the time, she said, "You know what? I'm going to pay for the meal." She put down her card. Waitress comes over, grabs the bill, comes back, puts it down in front of me to sign. Said, "Thank you, Serena," and she walked away. Like, you son of a, you got me. So she knew that I'm supposed to be the one paying, but because it was on my wife's card, she just pulled that zinger on me. Okay. So that one now will forever stay with us, and we still laugh about that. Um, I'm the guy that collects all the stupid little trinkets, and I started with the transportation cards. And they keep coming out with a new series, and I'm always looking for new ones. And I stop all the cast members whenever I can. We happen to be at Epcot. I've been looking for the tram card forever. I happen to get the two cast members. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm a collector too. I love helping collectors. I don't have that card for you." And she insisted on taking me to the back to dig out that one particular card. "I don't need any thanks. I really do. I just want to help collectors like you." Didn't need to do that. For every cast member that's ever told me I don't have any, go away, this woman actually tried to help us out, which was great. But I think the one best experience we've had, we were eating at Ale and Compass a few years ago, and our server was amazing. This guy was on point, and we
Uh-huh.
wanted to go over and let the manager know that this guy was on point. We asked for the manager. The guy never came out. We're waiting and waiting. Finally, we leave, and we just appeared. All of a sudden, I get an email. I guess they look up your profile and they know what table you're at. Looks me up, emails me, introduces himself, says, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm the manager. I was not able to come out. I'm busy building the menu for the next day. What can I help you with?" Gave him the story, writes back to me, just went above and beyond, invited us back, free appetizers, free drinks.
Wow.
I sent an email to his boss, to the head of
Hmm.
whoever, praising this guy. He
Wow.
sent me forwarded me the email that they sent. Like, it must have gone on this guy's record somewhere. They moved him up. He is now was the manager at Victoria and Alberts. He
Okay.
moved up from Allen Compass to Topolino's, and then they promoted him over to Victoria and Alberts. We went for anniversary one year. We went in. There were little gifts for anniversary. I went by myself. He brought chocolates to my room. Like, he's really hooked us up. He's become a really good friend and someone, good friend to have in the camp. But I mean, those have been our 3 times with a cast member. Again, one time we helped him out, but I think
Hmm.
he appreciated that email so much, and that might have been the one thing that helps tip him off and get him that next promotion to move on to the next
Yeah.
restaurant. So anytime you can give the guest compliment, anytime you can let a lead know that they're whatever the heck you call them, their cast member is doing
Cast
the right
compliment.
thing, yeah, it's got to go there. So that's amazing.
Hmm. And that's a good point that you bring that up, because if you go inside the uh, Disney World app, there is a area where you can actually leave cast compliments. If you click the little sandwich uh, button on the right there, I think that's what they call that, the 3 lines, and then you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see it right up, like it's like the last thing that says cast compliments. So you can actually give them cast compliments. And for a while there, Disney was taking cast compliments from social media and then actually replying back to you when they gave them the compliment, so you could see them receiving the compliment, which was pretty awesome. And I know Universal is very good at this as well, with the Universal Orlando Fist Bump. So the parks have become really good at interacting with good cast members. and getting them all towards social media and everything like that. So it's very awesome to see, you know, the people praising the good cast members on social media and showing them all about there. So it's really awesome.
Yeah,
But that
especially since you're not allowed to tip them, you know, so it's not
yeah.
about the money. So it's more about the, you know, if the most expensive thing you're going to do is leave some free verbal praise, you do
Mhm.
it.
And don't for a second think that because you're leaving that praise that nothing happens. Those cast members do get rewarded. I know of cast members personally who have received um, complimentary tickets to the parks that they can give out to friends or family because of your guest compliments, which is that's a huge deal for them. You know, to be able to have those comp tickets. So there are a lot of benefits to cast members. So if you have an amazing cast member, um, go ahead and let it be known. Speak up. Go to guest relations. Let them know how amazing of a job they did, so on and so forth. It does not go unseen. It does not go unheard. It is just it trust me, it goes a long way for the cast members. Disney really likes to celebrate cast members that do a great job. They're all about, celebrating those cast members, and of course it could help them down the line with promotions and whatever else. So, I know a lot of people like to hand out like little goodie bags to the cast members and things like that. That became a thing for a little while there, and those are great, but the compliments go way further, way further, way further. So that is amazing to see that people are doing that. Did you guys have any other stories before we kind of wrap up this segment here?
No, I'm good on that one.
All right, perfect. So, um, to kind of, I shouldn't say wrap up the show because this is definitely going to be a shorter show than last week because we had so much to talk about last week. But I wanted to share my recent experience at the parks because I had a pretty magical day the other day at Disney World. And it's one that I will admit I have not had in a while. Um, One of my biggest complaints, and I've said this numerous times on the show, is how many times I can I can get on a ride at another park versus Disney, and virtual queues and just the general direction that Disney has gone in with lines, and it just doesn't feel as magical because it requires a lot of planning. And I talk to people, all the time about coming to Disney and things like that outside of this show, and I always tell them brace yourself for all the planning that's required when you're taking a trip. Find a good travel agent, find a good friend or something that can assist you, because just getting a day's ticket to the park is just the start of the show. If you want to get on certain attractions, you have to do the virtual queues and things like that. And these things, it takes the spontaneity out of it. I think that everything should just be a line. If you want to have a fast pass system, that's fine, but at least have some sort of a line that people can wait in. If they want to wait 3 hours to ride that attraction, then let them wait 3 hours to ride that attraction. I mean, there's people that don't mind doing that. Let them do that. But that being said, so this past weekend, I went to Magic Kingdom for the day, and I have not been to Magic Kingdom in a little while. My summer has mostly been filled with Universal because like I said, I get so much done there that you know the other members who usually go with me don't want to go anywhere else because of how much more we can get done at the other parks. So I tried to do the virtual queue that day for uh, Tiana. I got in the morning, and I woke up early to get it done by 7 because I wasn't in the park yet. And I nothing. Right at 7, nothing. I watched the clock go from 6:59 to 7 a.m., and there was nothing available. Not a single spot. I don't know how that's possible. I did it right on the second. I honestly have no idea. It just didn't happen. I kept trying, checking, did it for about 5 minutes, nothing. So then I waited till 1 o'clock, because I was in the park then, and I tried again, and I got in, and it was open. The queue was actually open for a while. It was open for, I want to say, about an hour, hour and a half at 1 o'clock. So I was a little shocked by that. So I got into the queue, and before I went to the ride, because I had a later queue, I was like 156 or something like that, 152 I think or something. And of course they don't give you a time. You're just watching it go down and down and down, and kind of figuring out an idea of what uh, your time would be, because you really don't know. So I had an amazing dinner at Tony's on Main Street. Haven't eaten at Tony's in a while. They had the most amazing garlic bread. I don't know what they're putting in that garlic bread, but oh my God, is it amazing? It's like a huge stack of like little, I don't know what you call them, like strips of garlic bread with like an Alfredo sauce to dip it in, and oh my God, is that good? I want that right now, actually. um, but other than that, I also had an amazing Impossible meatball and spaghetti there, which was really good. Which I've been to Tony's before, and it's never really struck me as somewhere that's amazing for food. But you're sitting on Main Street, so who cares? But we had an amazing. Everything that we had was really, really, really good. It was actually really good Italian food, and I'm pretty picky when it comes to Italian food because I've had some really good Italian food, so I'm pretty picky. Um, but then again, like if I'm really, there are moments where I have brief moments of insanity, and I will eat somewhere like Olive Garden. So forgive me, um, all of you Italians out there. I'm sorry for my sins. I promise you, I'm cutting back. But there are some moments where I crave Olive Garden for some
I am
reason.
the guy with the vowel, and I am here to say I ate at Tony's once. I
Uh
will
huh.
never be back. That chicken
Wow.
parmesan is on par with Olive Garden for
Okay.
me. I mean,
Okay.
I've been. My grandmother lived on Mulberry Street,
Yeah, of
241
course.
between Spring and Prince. If she ever caught me eating Domino's, Pizza Hut, Olive Garden, sauce from a jar, she would have written me out of the
Yeah.
will. So I can't go back to Tony's anymore. At least you enjoyed it. Maybe the Impossible meatballs are good. And okay, their mozzarella sticks, whatever the heck they do to those things, on point. It's not your
Yeah.
traditional
Those are good.
mozzarella stick.
Those are
Those
good.
were amazing. I didn't do the garlic bread, but as far as entrees, I've
Hmm.
only heard that the appetizers are good. So
The pasta sauce was actually very good. It was very good pasta sauce. I will give them that. Of course, I think there was an eggplant parmesan on there that I could have tried as well, but I didn't go that route. I saw Impossible meatballs and wanted to take advantage of that. So that is, but it was very good. And of course, you're sitting on Main Street, you're eating on Main Street, so you can't really beat that. It's an awesome experience.
sure.
Now, um, we decided to go on to Big Thunder Mountain. We also saw the bears that day. I won't give you too much about seeing the country bears. I saw it. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it wasn't
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
guess I went into it with the expectation that it was going to be really bad, and it was it was okay. It wasn't
It,
great, but it wasn't horrible. It was
it's
okay.
less really bad than you'd expect it to be.
Yes,
So,
they actually, some of the
I mean,
songs were better than others.
yeah.
There were some
But
that
there,
were
when I
pretty
went, the
good.
whole place they were singing. So
Yeah,
I guess if you get the right mix
same
of
with me.
fans in there, they're going to enjoy it. But then Disney fans tend to like a lot of things. So
Yeah, it's same with me. I think this version appeals to more than just the Disney fans because everyone was singing along. Now, do I think like the bit there where they sing a whole new world and it's like this weird like country version where he's singing it like with a weird like lisp and all that? Do I think that's good? Absolutely not. That's absolutely just not great.
and
But
see, to me,
there
this
are.
show
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say this show completely appealed. When you were saying it doesn't go for Disney fans, this to me was like the LCD of Disney fans. These are your least common denominator
Yeah.
Disney fans walking there
Mhm.
enjoying the heck out of this show.
Yeah.
The thinking fans, maybe not, expecting a
Yeah.
little more. But I think they
The
really
heart.
dumbed it down for that least common denominator audience.
I agree with you 100%. That's exactly what they did, which is fine. They wanted to take some of the iconic songs and just make it silly with the bears, which is fine. I get the premise, but not a, not 100% my favorite. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yep.
I'm not.
It's
I'm
going to be
not.
here for a bit. So
And
nothing we
that's
can do
fine.
about that.
It
Yep. Yeah.
it is.
It's
It is what
enjoyable
it
for
is.
what it is. It's all right.
Yeah. We did go on Thunder, which was always fun. Thunder is always fun. The only thing that bums me out about Thunder is they spent all this money on this amazing interactive queue inside Big Thunder Mountain, and it is never open. They have the most amazing TNT detonators that you can like actually detonate. Like it looks like explosions on the actual ride while the guests are going through on the trains, and it looks incredible. And I've seen it, and when it first opened, we all would go over there and do it, and it was awesome. And then it's just over time, the a lot of the interactive parts have broken, and Disney's not going to fix it, and that's fine. I get it. Interactive cues have kind of gone the way of the dodo bird. So I get that, but it would be nice to have at least like the TNT detonators, because that would be fun. I see them over there, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could do that, but that's neither here nor there. But we got on there. That it was running a little slow. They were having a hard time loading the cars, but it's fine. But after we got off that ride, it timed up perfectly where we were to get on our Tiana virtual queue, and I went in. The queue is that ride. I wanted to go in there. I went in there with the Disney fanboy mindset. I'm gonna hate this. It's gonna be horrible. It's not Splash Mountain. I'm upset. There's no Brer Rabbit. I totally did. And the second I stepped into that queue and I looked around, I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. I was blown away. It looks so pretty. That first little area where there's a bunch of queuing areas where they have the lights strung at night, that looks so pretty. And then going in the queue and seeing the kitchen in there, Tiana's kitchen, her recipes, just seeing all of the stuff hanging on the walls. It was so awesome. And hearing the music, it was just it was amazing. It was amazing. And then you get on the ride, and we happened to get on the ride at the same time that they started Happily Ever After, the fireworks, which is no easy task because you don't choose when your virtual queue is called. You just get in line. And literally, as we got in the boat, they were starting the fireworks. So we're going through the ride. We're seeing all the amazing animatronics. I didn't realize they had giant screens on the wall where they were showing stuff in the background. Incredible ride. Just simply incredible. Amazing, 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 amazing upgrade to what was there before. Um, and the animatronics, I mean, all the animatronics in there are just so, they're just the next level, just top of the top. They look like actual humans. It's just insane how lifelike they actually are. We got to the top of the hill for the final drop, or I guess it's not the final drop because that the little tiny one after the big drop. But we got to the end for the big drop, and as we were about to drop, the fireworks just started erupting from the castle, and we could hear the music from Happily Ever After, and it was heaven. That was the ultimate. I mean, I don't think that ride can get any better than that moment, just because of the way you saw the fireworks, the way it was a clear night. the way, everything just lined up perfectly to make it one of the best ride experiences I've ever had at Disney. And we got through. We saw, the animatronics at the end when they sing the song, there, and it was just, it was amazing. And then as we left the ride, we, happily ever after was ending, and we heard the music, and there wasn't a ton of, it wasn't like packed over there when we left by the ride. And we walked right on to Tiana's, by the way. We walked right on to the Bayou Adventure. I mean, literally, like, there was no one in the queue. There was no one there. They called our virtual number. There was no one there whatsoever. We walked right on. I'm not exaggerating by any short of the means. We could have ran through and been on the ride in less than a minute. So having that experience and then leaving and then hearing the music for Happily Ever After, and just having sort of the park to ourselves for a little bit was just unbelievably magical. And that surge of Disney magic, that I haven't felt in a while, just all of a sudden came back, and it was an absolutely incredible experience, and a night that I will remember, for a long time, because that was pretty cool. And it'll be something that, we, like I said, will remember for a long time. And it's such a great ride. So if check if you can't get in the 7 o'clock queue for, Tiana's, try the 1 o'clock queue. I had really good luck. Just make sure you're in the park, because if you're not in the park, it will not let you do it, because I found that out because I wasn't in the park at 1 o'clock, and it wouldn't let me do it. And then once I got in the park, it let me do it. But luckily, there were still some spots left, so I was able to, take advantage of that and, make that happen. But yeah, that was most of my day. I did ride, the Liberty Bell and Tom Sawyer's Island, because obviously, you know, the room, nothing official from Disney yet, but it's pretty certain that, based on the concept art, that we are going to lose Tom Sawyer Island and, uh, Rivers of America, which I have to say, I really took some time this time to really explore, Tom Sawyer's Island. And, um, Tom Sawyer's Island is just, it's so much fun. I think it's one of the most under that, the fort, the caves, all that stuff. We walked through one of the caves with the gym, the treasure, and it was so much fun. I really felt like a kid again, exploring the island, exploring the caves, and kind of finding our way out. It was so much fun. I will miss, Tom Sawyer's Island. It's sad. I'm not as sad about losing it, as some other people are, but I will miss that. The Liberty Bell, it was fun to ride around Rivers of America, but it's not my favorite thing. I mean, it's a nice ride, but Tom Sawyer Island is fun. Doing the barrel bridge, really exploring the fort. I played checkers with my daughter while I was there, at the fort. So there's a lot of fun things to do there. So I will admit that I will miss, that experience. But we'll see. Is it Cars ride is definitely gonna be better. But be known, once they officially announce that is going away, that when they officially announce all the closing dates for all these attractions, if you want to get on these attractions now that they're rumored to close, now is the time to do it, because they have short wait times. Once they announce their closures, it's going to be 4 or 5 hour waits for all these attractions, unfortunately,
Right.
because everybody's going to want to get on these things. So
When was
I'm
the last
looking.
time that you did that, that you went to Tom Sawyer's Island and
actually, it
Rivers of
wasn't that
America? Has it
it
been a
wasn't that
while?
long ago. It was like back in May.
Okay,
It's something that
nice.
we do pretty regularly, actually, just because we like exploring the fort. That's probably the
Yeah,
favorite part.
And for somebody like me who can only go in the evening, because I'm not taking a day off to go to Disney, it's just not happening. Um, it's closed by the time I get there, and the riverboat is docked,
Hmm.
So, am I going to ride it again? Probably
True.
not. Is it going to crush me? Absolutely not. If I need to ride a boat, I can
Ride the ferry boat.
take a ride over to the TT. I mean, I literally took a ferry to work every day for about 20 years living on Staten Island because that was the only way to get to Manhattan.
Yeah,
So I'm riding a ferry every day as part of my daily commute. I'm good without a boat in Disney.
makes sense. Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be nice. I'm personally looking forward to bidding on jars of Waters of America water on eBay once they close that down.
Yeah, that that that's gonna be a thing. We all know that's gonna be a thing. That will
Absolutely.
definitely. Yeah.
See people fishing over with their little cups on a string, trying to drag water up and drag water out in boxes. So watch for it. It's going to happen.
$100 for
For
a thing of water.
a jar of water.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that's coming.
Mhm. And
I
I'm
would not be
surprised because
surprised.
they don't have any merchandise for those two areas to say. The
No.
way when Splash Mountain was going away, people went nuts for the pop figures and the plush and the
Mhm.
shirts and everything, and they really don't have much. You think that they'd make a couple of shirts because people will buy them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I'm sure they will come up with something. I mean, I think they have to acknowledge. I think if they do merchandise and acknowledge the fact that it's going away, I think that people will. I think maybe it'll help soften the blow a little bit
Mm-hmm.
for the guests. But who knows? I mean, people are just gonna hate. There's just people that don't like anything new and only want the stuff that's already there. Unfortunately, we just don't have the land to keep that stuff there. So, am I a little upset about it? Yes, but at the same time, you know, I I'm okay with it. It's had its time, and it'll be, and we can enjoy it until it's gone, and then I do hope that they open Aunt Polly's though. Opening
Right,
Aunt
just one
Polly's,
more time. Just give us a
yeah, just
chance to go get a little food over there.
exactly. I don't care what it is. It could be something that's prepackaged. It could be uncrustable sandwiches because I know they've done that before. That would be totally fine with me. Just any type of food, so we
Yeah.
can experience it one last time is all that we're asking for.
How did they get the food over there? Because I don't think the utilidors served that island, right? So they'd have to take it over on the raft, or they load up once in the morning and then just sell out and shut down.
Yeah, I don't know how that works either. I don't know if they send boats over with or rafts over with stuff and then do it that way. I honestly, that's a good one. I don't know on that one. I've
Yeah,
wondered that myself too.
'cause it's not like they can just keep unless you bring it over, periodically throughout the day. But I don't know. We may never find out again if they don't open up.
Yeah, I'll have to ask around and see if I can find anyone who knows. If anyone out there knows how they get food to Aunt Polly's, please let us know on Facebook because that is definitely a mystery that we'd like to be solved. But I think we can all agree that we have lots of memories in those areas of the park. Um, I know I do. That was when they had the 24-hour Disney days. Whenever I just couldn't handle it anymore and I needed a nap, I would go sit in the rocking chairs and nap. That's what they were good for. But all right, so I think that's um, Lisa. Did you have anything to add to that?
I didn't.
I don't know if she's
Oh, I'm still
okay.
here. I don't know if you can hear me.
I
Yeah,
most certainly can.
yeah, I don't think I have anything to add. Like, I've only been to Tom Sawyer's Island, I don't know, maybe a dozen times or so, and all of the
Hmm.
hundreds of times we've been to Magic Kingdom. So, and then, they always like the riverboat. However, um, I'm excited to see new things. I'm always excited to see new things. So, but sad to see it's going, but not quite as sad as some of the other attractions that may be heading out. So,
That's true.
No, nobody wanted to see us lose Toad, and everyone's riding Pooh. No one wanted to see
Right.
us
It's true.
lose Splash Mountain. Everyone's fighting to get on Tiana.
That's true.
They're
Right.
gonna, and once it's amazing and once it looks beautiful, yeah, it was nice to have the water and the
Yeah.
reflections
And they'll
and the
forget about
kinetic.
it.
Right, it's gone because hey, look,
Yeah.
something new and shiny.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
People will absolutely forget.
Yep, there's nothing wrong with that. You can lament and be sad, and no one was going to see the new country bears because the old country bears are gone. They got to sit the new country bears anyway. Let them gripe.
Right. Either way, we'll be going to Country Bears. Either way, we'll be doing whatever there is. So,
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We all hope that you have take time for magical moments. And while you're at the parks, just remember, thank those cast members. They do a thankless job and they serve so many, and they do it all while giving up time with their family and everything else. And be nice to them, thank them, and let them know that you're thankful that they're there, because they're the ones that create the magic, either behind the scenes or um, right on the battlegrounds there, right in the front line. We definitely appreciate them. And as I unless does anyone have anything else to say before we wrap this up?
No, I'm great this week.
yeah, we're good.
Perfect. So we are going to so next week, just a heads up, we will not have a show because Tuesday night I am going to the DVC events at Hollywood Studios. I've been invited to that, so I'm going to go check that out because I've never been to a DVC event, I don't think. Yeah, I can't think of one. So I'm going to try that out and see what that's all about. Hopefully get on a lot of rides. Hopefully I can get a lot of time in on Rock and Roller Coaster, 'cause that's where I haven't been on in a while. So I want to get on that quite a few times. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna go check that out. So we will be on the following week. But we definitely thank you all for joining us here. Of course, we post this pretty much every week at 5 p.m. on Fridays. So you can find us on Fridays on your favorite podcasting platform. And then you can catch us every week on Tuesdays at 8:30, unless noted otherwise, at 8:30 on our YouTube channel, Disney and Beyond, and of course our YouTube channel, and of course our Mouse Minds Facebook page. So be able to check us out there. But like I always say, if you can dream it, you can do it. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. So we certainly appreciate you guys joining us this week. And